Dan, Easy Does It. He says, any guesses on the ESBC launch date? Yeah, at this point, man, it's going to be a guess, but I am going to give you an answer on this, right? In my opinion, if we're trying to figure out when Esports Boxing Club is going to release the new boxing game, that if you're into boxing at all, you've probably heard of, you've talked about it or whatever. I don't know. I think there's definitely a chance it could come out this year, but if you're looking at your watch, it's getting kind of late. Now, I'm not worried about the game itself, right? I'm not worried about, oh my God, is it going to come out? Is this going to be another example of one of those boxing games that we've been talking about? And oh my God, and they showed us some graphics and it got further along than all of the other boxing games that we heard about, but it just didn't make it out. I don't think that this is, I do 100% believe, I believe that the game is coming out, right? But there are some things that you got to consider, right? This game is getting a lot of attention at this point, and more than likely getting a lot of attention from huge organizations. If you just look at where they started, I don't know how many of y'all saw what this game used to look like the first time it was announced. It didn't look nothing like it looks the latest screens that they gave us, right? And so the part of the reason why the project has gotten bigger and better is because they have started to work with all these other different companies. 1024 was not a part of the project from the very beginning. 1024 is, the studio that's responsible for, Death Stranding, I think it's called. And the visuals in that game are amazing. And I think they had a lot to do with the overall visual improvement of what you see in ESBC. So that's just one huge organization, or one organization that we know about. You got to think that with the buzz that it's been generating and the names that are being associated with it, that there are more people, more organizations that are getting involved and want a piece of this. That could lead to the project being bigger overall. And I wouldn't be shocked if it's already bigger, way bigger than what we thought. And as it grows and then there's more people involved, it could push the release date back. But ultimately, it will probably result in the game itself just being better. And if the game does get to that point where I'm talking about it's on a Fight Night level or on a EA UFC 4 level, like that in terms of the overall grandness of the project, then the game is going to need like its own hype train build up. See, right now they're essentially showing us screenshots and some videos, and there's a long form trailer that should be coming out at some point shortly, I believe. But there's no like definitive stuff about release dates. If this project gets huge, once that definitive thing drops about the release date, if there's major, like a lot of different organizations involved, they're going to want a build up, and so then that way they can do their own marketing and they can, show Canelo, in a commercial or something, get on advertising for some big fights that are coming up, get on, these different networks, that are broadcasting fights or streaming fights. They're going to want to build this hype train up to the point where it's not just hardcore boxing fans that know about it. Everybody knows this game is coming, right? And we're not at that point. So to me, I wouldn't be surprised if the game didn't come out to next year, so that it will have the type of hype that I think is justifiable for where it looks like the game is headed. So that would be my prediction sometime next year, at this point, because we're at the end of July and things will have to move very swiftly for it to come out. I mean, a lot of people don't even like, you think about it like this, right? If it's not out yet and we don't have a release date yet, it absolutely would not want to compete with Madden, a release date, a release time right there. It would not want to be anywhere in September where we got FIFA, NHL, and NBA 2K. Okay. October is probably going to run into WWE 2K. And then once you get into October, you're asking yourself, are we too close to Christmas? Do people already have their Christmas list set? And this late entry, especially without a significant hype train, does it fit well enough in the holiday plans? And I think that it would not at that point. So to me, if you look at like the early part of next year, you can kind of look around and say, okay, well, what are the major releases, especially on the sports calendar, would it be competing with? And if you look at the sports video game release calendar, the only big time sports release, and this is only really big in America, is MLB The Show. Comes out in late March 27th through April 1st, like is usually when it comes out. So if they were to say this game is coming out in January or February, they would have that whole time to themselves. You probably don't want to do January, more February, because you want people to get a chance to get their money back together after Christmas. But probably somewhere like February, early March, that seems like a really realistic time for me to if just using what I've learned from the sports video game industry. That would make more sense to me. I would be shocked if I heard about a release date towards the end of the year. I'd be shocked and even a little concerned, to be honest. But doesn't mean it'd be bad, but I would be a little surprised.